Hey, everybody, welcome back. Question for you. Do you know what NLP stands for? I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it. So now that you've had some time to think, did you come up with nice Linux programming? Because that was mine at first, but you would be wrong. It actually stands for NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, and I have with me Chuck Hendricks, who is a master certified NLP practitioner for the last 5 years. How's it going, Chuck? Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Steve. I'm going well.
All right. So for somebody that's not familiar with NLP, how would you explain that process to them?
Sure. From people who haven't heard of what NLP is, it stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. And one of the simplest ways to explain it, it is a technology that allows you to run your own brain and your own emotions rather than you being caught up in your emotions and brain running, the things that are out here. You run your brain. So it puts you in the driver's seat of your behavior.
Nice. I mean, who doesn't want to be in the driver's seat, right?
Exactly, right? That's why I love NLP. One of the other definitions that I've heard over the years used is it is the lost manual of the mind. Could you imagine finding the manual to be able to control your mind? Like mind blowing that it even exists, right?
Right.
And then my favorite definition is that NLP is the study of subjective experience, how we experience our world through our five senses and our neurology, and being able to understand how that's actually subjective in the way that we experience our world.
So, you know what? I like the word subjective so much, and it was a hard word for me to really come to terms with between objectivity and subjectivity. And I'm guessing that a lot of people have that same issue because they're not words you hear a lot generally in normal conversation. So, I mean, I've learned it now, but from someone that's got a deeper understanding of it, can you explain the difference between objectivity and subjectivity in this case?
Absolutely. I'll use an illustration or an analogy. So if you assume that your thermostat was working properly, it says it's 68 degrees in the room. That's objective. It's outside of myself. Now, I might say, oh, it's cold in here. It's 68 degrees. That's objective. Subjective would be, it's cold. Someone else could be wearing shorts in the same room at the same objective temperature and go, whoa, 68 degrees. That's hot in here. Subjective experience is how one individual may experience the set of circumstances that they're in right at the moment.
That's an excellent analogy. I'm going to use that one for sure. Yeah, using the thermostat. So, I guess, how did you get started in the NLP world? Like, what made you go deeper into this?
That's a great question. So NLP was created by Richard Bandler and John Grinder, and they kind of created NLP from modeling therapists in the early 70s who were getting amazing results with their clients. And they were looking at other therapists who were working with clients for 10, 20 years with no real results. They kind of said to themselves, there has to be a better way. And so they started modeling these therapists that were getting great results. Virginia Satir, Milton H. Erickson, Fritz Perls, and they looked at what they were doing and they noticed that there were language patterns. They noticed that there were patterns that are working with people and how the neurology of the body actually was working to cause or solve problems. And so from that, I had seen some videos where they were getting these amazing shifts very quickly in working with people. And since I have always been interested in personal development, I wanted more of it. And so for years, I tried to watch YouTube videos and read the original books that were by these authors. And they were very jargony. If you're not familiar with it, NLP can be very jargony with a lot of technical words. And so I tried to understand it, and I really didn't understand it. But I knew that from what I was seeing on the demos that there was powerful change that could be had or that could take place with NLP. Several years later, I was scrolling through Facebook and found an ad for a guy that was selling a digital copy of the 7-day NLP training. And so he upsold me a couple of times. And eventually I was able to watch his videos, and I understood more in a couple of hours than I had the previous years trying to figure it out on my own. And I was hooked. And so for the last 5 years, I've been studying and learning, and went from being a practitioner to a master practitioner, now to a certified trainer. And I love to help other people discover emotional freedom through these tools we call NLP.
Right on. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's like anything, once you find something super powerful, like sharing that with everybody you can, obviously, is, what we naturally tend to want to do. So, you know,
Would it be okay if I
much.
give you a couple of examples of those powerful changes that we were able to see with clients and on some demonstration videos?
Absolutely, for sure.
So one of the most famous patterns in NLP is the like to dislike pattern. Could you imagine liking a food but wanting to lose weight? You're struggling with it. It's like, let's just say chocolate cake. Oh my goodness, every time I get chocolate cake, I want chocolate cake. And you get stuck wanting the chocolate cake. And in about 10 minutes, using the like to dislike pattern, we can actually help someone dislike chocolate cake at a neurological level, not just in a willpower, I'm going to make myself not like it, but actually changing their feelings, their desire for chocolate cake in their neurology in just 10 minutes. It's amazing how that can happen.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's just that simple.
if someone is familiar with the techniques themselves and knows how to use them, it's that simple. I had
Can
one of my clients that wanted to quit drinking pop. And in 10 minutes, she quit liking pop. She was blown away by the results. And that's just one pattern. That's just one technique. NLP is full of all kinds of techniques, not just, this one, but that is an example.
is that technique something? So you're talking about having somebody change from, liking something to disliking something. Is the inverse as well possible with the same technique? Or like, if you didn't like Brussels sprouts but knew it was good to eat them, like, could you change your way of thinking so that you incorporated them into your diet? Or
It is possible. And when we're working with any technique in NLP, we want to make sure that it's ecological. Is it good for the environment? Is it good for the client? Is it good for the therapist? Is it good for everyone that's involved? I wouldn't want someone to like something that they didn't like because they could have an allergy to it. And maybe that's why their unconscious mind has sent the signal of, I don't like that Brussels sprout. So there would be some questions and follow up to make sure that it was safe to do so. But yes, the pattern can work in the opposite direction as well.
gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. As long as, because that could be used in many ways to, obviously change your mind about wanting to work out and your feelings surrounding that, and just, doing better habits, I guess, is what I'm after. So that's great. When you're working with people and you're talking about the change and everything here, like what do most people seem to get wrong about change, I guess? Like, no problem. You're still blurry, by the way. I don't know.
I am?
Yeah. And it's choppy, and I don't know if it's going to be an issue or not. I don't know what to do about it.
Okay. I'm not sure. I've never experienced this platform before.
Yeah. I mean, I can show you what I'm seeing, like not that it matters really, but
Well, I'm also recording on my other device. So maybe I can send you that copy and see if they can mirror them together, if that would help. I don't know if it's a better copy. I switched the devices, but
okay. Yeah, we'll see. I sent Tim a message just asking him if it's going to be a problem or not. So I don't know, but I'd hate to, like, I don't think it's a waste of time, but I just, because I can hear you. So the video, I guess, isn't as, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, we can continue to do it. If we need to redo it again, we'll have had a practice run and we'll both be more comfortable doing it a second time if we have to.
Okay. I'm fine with that. I just didn't want to, make
Yeah.
you feel like
I
We're
don't want to guarantee my answers will be word for word the same either, but
well, no, of course they wouldn't. I mean, that would be practically impossible. And between now and then, if we did that, who knows? Could be improved answers or improved questions on my part. Who knows? So,
all right.
but anyway, yeah, I just wanted to let you know, like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to stop. If you're good with that, like, we'll just
Sure. And if you want to use this copy instead, if it's better, then that's great. Or we can, again, the devices are turned so that I can see myself. And I don't know if the camera is better on the other side than this side, but then I can see to make sure that I'm in frame. So
right.
I'm doing the best I can with what I have here. So,
I hear you. I get it.
so I'll go ahead
We're
and answer that other question.
we're all learning. So,
Yes, for sure.
but
So the
yeah,
thing that a lot of people get wrong about change is that it takes a long time. We've been told that it takes 21 days or 30 days in order to change a habit or to have a new belief. And the reality is, whether we're talking about changes of emotional regulation or the way we perceive the world, or whether we're talking about actual beliefs, they can be changed in an instant. I mean, if you think about it, if you were to put your hand on a hot stove, how long would you leave it there thinking, I wonder if I should believe that this is hot or not? It's instantaneous.
it's pretty quick. Yeah, I'm not.
Exactly. And so the misnomer about change is that it takes a long time. So often, what people think is that it takes a long time to decide to change, or it takes a long time to prove to themselves that the belief is accurate. But the changing of the belief or the changing of the experience to that stimulus can be done instantaneously.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna put your hand on a hot stove again. That's for sure. So that really debunks that myth pretty quickly. I never thought of it that way. But so, like you're saying, it is more the decision part of it is, I think, where it comes into that's what comes into play.
Sure, but people's beliefs about their beliefs has a huge impact on what they believe, no pun intended. But if someone believes that it's going to take, 30 days to create a new habit, they've already told their unconscious mind that it's going to take 30 days. So even though the unconscious mind can do it very quickly, they've decided to tell the unconscious mind that it's going to take a month.
Gotcha. So then I guess the question is, why do people keep repeating the same patterns even though they know that they're hurting themselves with these patterns?
Absolutely a great question. Why in the world would someone keep doing an old pattern that was giving them unresourceful results when they want to change? And the answer is there's an unconscious payoff. There's something that the unconscious mind is getting that keeps them stuck in the old pattern until that secondary gain is one of the things that it's often referred to. Until that secondary gain is addressed, then that pattern will still continue to emerge. Another thought in regards to that, again, we're looking at the conscious mind versus the unconscious mind. You can consciously say, okay, back to the cake from earlier. I have a birthday party tonight and I'm not going to eat the chocolate cake at the party. I'm just not going to do it. And then I go through my day and I've gone to work and I've had an argument and I've looked at the bills and now I'm worried about the bills and all these things are going on in my head. And so then I get to the party that night and the cake's there and I'm go, yeah, I'm tired. I've had a rough day. And we justify wanting the cake, or our willpower is weaker because all the events of the day have worn us out. And so again, people have the desire to change and they think they're going to do it with their willpower, but really they need to do it with their unconscious mind. And NLP taps into the unconscious mind so they can get the real results that they want rather than being in conflict, the conscious mind and the unconscious mind.
So then that would kind of work the same way as, somebody pressuring you too, like, no, just have a piece of cake. Like, it's just a piece of cake.
Yeah, there might be a desire to people please rather than stand up for yourself and say, no, thank you. I'm not going to have that cake. Oh, come on. It's only one piece. You deserve it. And people love us and they want to cheer us on. Unfortunately, we have to have that resolve on the inside at the
Yeah.
unconscious level.
Yeah. And it's funny how that's a commonality in society now. Like, people do it subconsciously, obviously the same, just as anything else. Like they want to offer you something that is good or they believe is good, even though ironically, you know, chocolate cake might not be healthy, but
Tastes good.
they're just trying to make you happy using their people pleasing. And then it becomes kind of, you know, where that old say no to drugs fucking saying comes from, just say no. So when we're talking about NLP again, the connection between the way somebody thinks and the results that they keep getting in life, like how does that play out? Like kind of similarly to, you know, knowing the patterns are bad but still doing them.
Mm-hmm.
How does NLP, I guess, kind of explain that connection?
A couple of thoughts in regard to why would someone want to stop doing something but then keep doing it, and those patterns that we've talked about. The first of all is so often we focus on what we don't want rather than what we want. I think we've all been there if we live in a house with multiple people. Hey, what do you want for supper tonight? I don't know. I don't want pizza. I had pizza for lunch yesterday. I don't want to. We talk about what we don't want rather than what we do want.
Mm.
And so often people say, I don't want to weigh this amount of weight, right? Or I don't want this in a job. I don't want this in a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. We so often focus on what we don't want. And in NLP, there's a saying, you'll get more of what you focus on. So focus on what you want. But people are in the habit of focusing on what they don't want. So my first encouragement would be to focus on what you want, whatever that might be, whatever result that you want. And the second thing is the difference between away motivation and toward motivation. So often people are in that yo-yo loop of being away motivated. Again, using an analogy from weight and weight loss, I work with a lot of weight loss clients. They get on the scale one day and go, oh my goodness, I weigh 350 pounds. And then they do what they can to get away from that. They'll stop eating the sweets. They'll quit drinking the pop. They'll go to the gym. And they're doing all they can to get away from that huge number. The unconscious payoff is that is too big, right? That number. Then they get on the scales one day and they go, 299, yes. And then they relax and they quit doing the things that got them from 300 to 299. And little by little, pound by pound, that weight comes back on. Even though they want to lose weight, they don't want to be 350. And so the unconscious mind says, okay, we're not 350 anymore. We'll quit working. We'll quit releasing the weight. Now consider this. On the other hand, is when we're toward motivated. Instead of not wanting to weigh 350, let's say that I decide that I want to weigh 185. And so the closer that I get to 185, when I get to that 299 place, yes, I'm getting closer and I become more and more motivated to keep going long term because I'm moving towards what I do want rather than away from what I don't want. And that makes a huge difference in every area of your life.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like that saying, what resists persists, in a way. But that's a great way to point it out. Like if you, again, what you focus your awareness on, but I guess that falls in line with what you're saying. And in your subconscious, you're not really aware that that's what you're focusing on, is not wanting to be 350 or whatever. Like, and as you were talking about that, it just hit me like how many times I've done that same thing, you know, trying to lose weight. And it's like, well, I'm not where I was, so, you know, we're good. But did I get to where I wanted to go? No. But then there's the justification of I'm not where I was. So like, how do you change staying stuck in that spot then, you know, when, again, if people are saying they want to be a certain weight, and, you know, for instance, and then they're not getting there, they stay stuck like in between. Like if they want to be 185 and they're 300, but they don't want to be 350, like getting down to 250 and just being like, well, this is good enough, I guess, you know. I'm sure there's sticking points that happen, you know, along the way. So like how do you address that?
Well, when we talk about weight loss, stalls are inevitable. I've never worked with anybody, never heard of anybody that has lost weight that didn't have a stall of a couple of weeks, a month, even sometimes 2 or 3 months, right? And there are strategies that we can encourage them to change that up. I'll come back to that in a moment. But when we talk about a way motivated, anytime there's a negative, a not, that lets us know that we're being a way motivated. So becoming conscious of our and aware of our language patterns, anytime we're using not, I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be a narcissist, right? Whatever the not is, anything that has a not in it is going to be a way motivated, which will have a very short lifespan in the course of getting the results that you want to get. So when we focus on what we do want, we're going to be toward motivated. And so we're going to be looking forward to what we do want. And then in regards to weight, yes, we want to get to the 199 place, right? Wonderland, we call that 199 place. And I'm at 250. Well, I can look at how far I've come towards my goal, and that will help me stay motivated. Here's the caveat. So often we get to that place of, oh, screw it. It isn't working anyway. And that is when we get in that pitfall. Even if we're towards motivated, that thought of this isn't worth it can sabotage all that success that we've had, whether it be lifting weights, whether it be an income growth, whether it be a better communication with our wives or whatever, no matter what it is, as long as we are toward motivated, we'll have a greater chance to stay that way. And when we find ourselves thinking, is this really worth it? Then we want to reevaluate, see how far we've come, and make adjustments. One of the presuppositions of NLP is there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. And so as long as we're toward motivated and looking towards that goal of what we do want, we say, okay, this particular diet isn't working. This workout routine is not working. And we change it up because we get feedback from the results that we are having.
I like that concept too. I don't believe in failure in anything, and using that or not analogy, but changing the framing of it to it's not failure, it's just a feedback. I think what comes up for me with that is you got to be really honest with yourself too. Like if you're talking about changing, well, this diet or exercise program's not working for me. Well, are you honestly doing it? Because how oftentimes are we just like, well, yeah, I did it, but I might have had a Snickers bar once a day too, like, so I being, definitely a high level degree of integrity with yourself is pretty integral in terms of getting the results as well, I would say. But you're talking about motivation, how does that work in the NLP realm in terms of, because people talk about motivation a lot, and well, you don't need motivation, you need discipline, or this and that. Like there's so many, it's not this way, it's that way going on anymore. And I think you got to have a level of all of it, right, in order to actually make lasting change. So why what is your thoughts on motivation and change, and why it works, or why do you feel motivated one day versus the next, I guess?
A couple of thoughts. When it comes to your car, which would you rather have, a steering wheel or wheels? You need both. Exactly what you were saying, right? You have to have
Yeah.
both. And so do you need discipline to be successful at any area of your life? Absolutely. Action is required. Do you need motivation to help propel you? Absolutely. I think that they work in tandem, not against each other like so many people do want to suggest. When it comes to motivation in NLP, a couple of thoughts. One, you want to be toward motivated, which we've already talked about. And then the second thing is, when it comes to motivation, is if you get stuck on thinking about the steps, you'll get unmotivated. But if you keep focused on the outcome, what will your life be like when you are that 199? What will you be like when you are having 100K year consistently? Focus on the outcome will help you stay motivated rather than focusing on my goodness, I have to do all this work. I have to get up early. When we start focusing on all the details rather than the outcome, we get overwhelmed and unmotivated or demotivated.